Welcome to Mind Your Wedding Business Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Dennis. In addition to leading the charge at Wedding IQ, I also run Fantasy Sound Event Services, a lighting and entertainment company based in Livermore, California, that I founded over 35 years ago. Each week on this podcast, you'll hear thought-provoking and empowering interviews with wedding professionals who have found success in the industry. If you're a business-minded wedding pro who loves love, but also cares about their bottom line, buckle up and get ready to learn from a new industry expert each week. All right, so welcome back to another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business, and it's holiday season, Ashely. Are we ready for it? You got your tree up?
Yeah.
Things are good?
The tree is up. Presents are getting wrapped.
Are you one of those that waits till the last minute to wrap your presents, or do you go
No,
early?
so I am an obsessive wrapper. I start planning my wrapping paper theme months in advance and buying.
I love it.
Yeah, it's out of control. So every year I post what my wrapping looks like, and that I usually do on Christmas Eve. But yeah, there's a whole process and a lot of madness involved.
So you can't tell us yet what your wrapping is since you wait to
Nope,
post?
I can't divulge it. But
Okay.
if you know
All right.
me well and you know what I've been doing this year, then you probably have a good idea.
Oh, I have an idea. I do. I have an idea. So, all right. So Ashely, you're here to talk about luxury weddings with all of us. But before you do, tell us a little bit about yourselves for someone that may be new to the podcast.
Yeah. Well, my name's Ashely Allan. I am a wedding planner based out of Scottsdale, Arizona. We do weddings, of course, in Arizona, but also across the world. And what a lot of people don't realize about me as well is I'm a marketing professor. So I spend a lot of my time looking at the way that we in the wedding industry market ourselves and how we're a little bit different than a lot of other industries.
And you probably know how we could probably do it a whole lot better, huh?
I mean, everybody's on their own journey, but
yeah, that's a good way to put it. I like
better.
that. Everyone's on their own journey. I'm going to start using that. I'm going to steal that from you. All right. So we're talking about luxury weddings. And are you ready? So how do you feel about the term luxury weddings, Ashely?
Well, I have strong feelings about it. I think the word that I've used recently is that luxury has been bastardized by the wedding industry.
I agree.
And as an educator, I always try to make sure that I'm letting people know where I'm coming from. And so the term bastardization, the literal definition is to change something in a way that it lowers the quality or value.
Oh.
And we in the wedding industry, I hear it constantly. Every single vendor I talk to is a luxury vendor. And the thing is that's just impossible. And it's not a bad thing to not be a luxury provider. The majority of weddings that are happening in the US are not luxury weddings, and that is okay. There's still a beautiful celebration. And we as vendors still can make a living off of them without calling ourselves a luxury vendor if we aren't truly that.
Do you think that people use that term because they want clients to hire them because they think they're luxury? Or
I think that this is twofold. One, luxury, you can slap the word luxury on something and suddenly you think that you can charge more. And there's a big piece of that I want to talk about. But the other piece of that is that I think if you say luxury, you think you're going to just attract those clients with higher budgets. And that may be true, but you have to have some things in place to really back that up in order to continue getting that level of clientele. And that's where I see the disconnect is I keep seeing people in the industry, whether it's planners, florists, DJs, designers, all across the board, even venues, calling themselves luxury when the experience that they're providing really isn't. And what that does is it devalues those vendors that actually are at that luxury level. My other little rant piece on that is, as the provider, I'm never going to say I am a luxury XYZ. You need to wait for your clients to tell you that you are luxury before you can start saying that.
Oh, and why do you think that's the case?
Because they're the ones that determine what a luxury really is, right? The word luxury is both a noun and an adjective. Obviously, a wedding in and of itself is a luxury in life.
Yeah,
that
it
is.
is.
Right? But when we call ourselves a luxury planner, a luxury florist, a luxury DJ, then we're using it as an adjective. And that is where we're getting it messed up.
So what would you consider a luxury wedding? You kind of mentioned it, but what would you, define it to us?
Sure, there's some key indicators, and I don't know that there's a strong definition, but I think that you could say that if the couple is hosting a wedding and it's roughly $1,000 or more per guests, we're in the luxury space. That's really like entry level luxury. Okay. When we're up to like $3,500 per guest, then we're entering like some higher level extreme luxury, territory. But if you've got 100-person wedding and again, not to belittle what anybody is spending on their wedding, because it's a huge investment no matter what, both of your lives together and of money, no matter what that dollar amount is, because money is relative to where we are in our lives and who we are and what we do and all those things. But if you are having 100 guests and you are spending, $30,000 on your wedding vendors should not be luxury wedding vendors. Because one, you're not going to be able to get the best bang for your buck because you're going to use a lot of your money on somebody that is really targeting a higher budget clientele. And then, you're not going to experience that luxury experience. And truthfully, most vendors should not be in that budget.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because the whole time you've been talking, I've been thinking, it's like we never market ourselves at luxury, like to the luxury client. Like I'm always good for the middle of the road. I mean, that's kind of where a lot of our clients are. They're not spending that, $1,000, but then a person, but then we do get random, like a handful of weddings a year that will spend that. And but we get more, I feel like, in the entry level area. And you could, and just from the, just the level of service that we have to provide for that client is totally different than the level of service we have to provide for every other client.
100%.
From more meetings. Yeah, exactly. They want more. They feel they're a little bit entitled. I feel like a little bit too. Sometimes it's like they can ask you to do things that you might not always do for all your other clients as well. So it's kind of interesting.
That's also because they are most likely living in a luxury lifestyle within the rest of their lives as well. So I like to equate it to, if you've ever gone, this summer I had the lovely experience of getting to do a little bit of luxury shopping. And I also went to a 3 Michelin star restaurant. Things I've never done before. This is not the lifestyle that I live, but I got to live it for like a month and a half. So what I experienced in those were that my expectations were blown away because I'd never walked into a Louis Vuitton before and actually been shopping. I'd never been to a Michelin star restaurant before and experienced how different the service is. Like you don't go to, I'll use where I went as an example. I went to Gordon Ramsay's flagship restaurant in London. Incredible experience. Yes, the food was amazing, but the service was like a dance. I have never been so impressed by how many times the table was touched, how lovely and pleasant, and how my needs were anticipated before I knew that I had them. It just blew me away. I don't expect that level of service when I go to Chili's, know?
Yeah, no.
And that's the thing. Like that is a luxury experience. And don't get me wrong. If I'm looking for some avocado ranch, Chili's is my go-to. But I'm not expecting that same level of service and experience. And, talking to their staff, knowing that some of them have worked for the restaurant for 20 years. Like that's what you're getting when you're paying for and you're expecting luxury. And the people that are clients in the luxury market, that is what they're used to in a lot of aspects of their lives. And so that's why when they come to us and they are, wanting our top tier services and they're paying us a lot of money, they are expecting that level of service as well.
Yeah. And it's funny. I just recently, I would love to eat at Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay is my favorite celebrity chef by far. And probably because he cusses a lot on his TV. That's hands down my favorite. So in Vegas, I've eaten at a few of his restaurants, which are always good, but I've never, I would love to get that next level service. But in Vegas, a couple months ago, I got to go to Michael Mina's restaurant and got greeted. So special. I was a guest of someone's. They took us to the restaurant, but that's the first time I experienced a level of service that I've never experienced at a restaurant before. From, like you were saying, like we got met at the door by the general manager of the restaurant and our waiter, and they're the ones that brought us to our table. And the waiter introduced. I said my name one time, and he referenced my name. Every time that he direct a question at me, and it was just like I was blown away by, like you said, the touch points at the table, the little, like the waiter bought us, an extra serving of food, brought us out something special that he thought we would enjoy. I mean, just like all these little touch points, and to me that was luxury. That was a different, like I'm like, I would never, I can't imagine having this dining experience again. It was that. Yeah. And it was the level of hospitality that you just, that you don't get at a Chili's or your average chain restaurant.
Yeah. Even at like a nicer restaurant, like, it's a celebration. We're going to the Keg. It's a good dining experience, but it's just next level when you are really, truly in that luxury space.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the wedding industry, the majority of us are not in that top tier luxury space, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to stop thinking of ourselves, of it being bad that we aren't luxury, because like you said, like there's a lot of instances where we move into that space because of the great job that we're doing, and people still hire us even though we aren't marketing towards those top tier budget clients.
Yeah, and like for our example, it's a venue we work at all the time, and so that's how we got that experience, because they decided to have their event here. They decided they were going to spend a lot of money, and it was amazing. Like we provided them with a level of service that it's not an everyday. Like we were all like our whole staff was fully exhausted after that wedding. We worked so hard, and it was just a level of something that we don't normally do. So I always admire people that do this, very regularly, because there's a florist in our market that caters to that. And his stuff is amazing. His social media is amazing, and it blows your mind. So.
Well, and I like to be fully transparent. Like we are not in that market either. We have done maybe one wedding that was $3,500 a guest. The rest of ours, I would say, range from between like $800 a guest to like $2,000 a guest. So we're kind of across the board. We definitely tell in our advertising, we say we're for the luxe and in love, because I want them to know that they are the ones that are luxury. But I don't ever say like we are luxury, because as much as I subscribe to the Will Guidara School of Unreasonable Hospitality, I know that we still have work to do. We've been in the business for 10 years. We are still working to be the best that we can be. And, I'm okay with the fact that we're not there yet, because it gives us somewhere to go.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is like words come with expectations. And when expectations and reality don't align, then those words eventually become less powerful and eventually meaningless. And that's what I'm afraid of with the word luxury in the wedding industry. I don't want it to be meaningless in our industry.
Yeah, and that's too bad that it's really becoming that way. So, and you've kind of touched on it, but why do you think people use this term? Like, why do you think so many wedding professionals jump to it? And especially when they're marketing, like you mentioned, you got a marketing background, but like when their marketing doesn't even match luxury.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because it's one of those hot words, right? Like the way that synergy was really hot on resumes for a long time. It's one of those hot words that people want to be associated with because they think that it will give you reason or give you value to your pricing, or give signal to people that you are a luxury or that they want a luxury. And again, like I said, like a wedding in itself is a luxury. The jobs that we're all doing are already like such an incredible thing for each person to get, regardless of that level. I think where people just are getting it wrong is that when your pricing, your process, and your personalization, and even consistency and performance, so 4 Ps, don't align, then that's where it just doesn't make sense. So I think you really have to look at like, am I giving my clients like something truly exceptional? Am I providing like that really luxury level experience? Are their needs being met before they know they have them? Are they coming to you with every question, or are you solving the problems before they realize their problems? And then, I don't know, then is it really a word that you want to use? Again, because of the way that other people use it. Like for me, I don't really use the word luxury in our branding and in our marketing because I don't like the way it's used in the industry.
And I like the way you use Lux and in love. That's great.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think using like another tangible thing for people to relate to, when we think about hotels, when you go and stay at a luxury resort, if you are at Ritz-Carlton, if you are at a Montage resort, the experience that you are expecting before you walk in the door is already elevated. The price tag is elevated. Part of the reason for that price tag is because they have more people on staff to make sure that that experience happens the way that you're expecting it to. Again, the personalization, the touch points, any of these extremely luxurious hotels are going to have your name in various places in the room. They're going to have like a welcome gift for you. They are creating opportunities throughout your stay for you to be surprised and delighted. If you go to the Holiday Inn, you are not getting those experiences. Now, don't get me wrong. The Holiday Inn, if you need a place to stay,
purpose. Yep.
has absolutely. And it is clearly a profitable hotel chain. They have a place in the market on both the perception curve and in the eye of the consumer. But you're not expecting Ritz-Carlton service at a Holiday Inn.
No.
So we have to look at our own businesses in the same way that the hospitality industry, that the luxury goods industry, all of those do, and ask ourselves, are we really that level? Like I always like to say, if we're talking about handbags, like I know as much as I would love for your Jubilee, my business, to be the Hermes of wedding planners, I am totally okay that we aren't there yet. Do I want to be someday? Yes. But right now, I think we're like Kate Spade, Marc Jacobs, and that's totally fine.
And totally good. Yeah. No, and it's funny. I think you got to think of it too, is like luxury is going to be different where you are in the world, and that's one of the greatest, so being the WIPA president and got to travel all the different chapters, the greatest education I got out of that is learning about how, even though we are one country, we are so different everywhere you go, and how our weddings are different everywhere you go. And so do you think that luxury is different in different parts of the country? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think the perception of luxury might be different, but I think that the true luxury, high-end luxury clients are not. Because those high-end luxury clients are traveling all over the world and they're experiencing luxury in, Nebraska, in New York, in Paris, in Shanghai. Like they're experiencing it across the world. And the one thing that is going to always be consistent is the level of personalization and customer service. Ultimately, I think that is my biggest, reason that this grinds my gears is that most vendors are not doing that level of personalization and process perfection that true high-end luxury clientele is expecting.
Yeah. And it's funny that going even back to WIPA, like I've been in your market, and stayed at the most amazing resorts. I mean, you guys have the most amazing resorts there in the Scottsdale area, but I've also stayed at the business hotels in Scottsdale, area as well. And then I even thinking about like Colorado, like being up in Vail and that whole, that's a whole nother level of service. But I've also been downtown Denver and stayed at the AC hotel, and you know what I'm saying? But it's like what you expect and what you get out of it, when it comes to luxury. So
absolutely. And I think that's the whole thing, is the expectation that comes with the word. And I think in most markets, there's somehow like an understood expectation. So like, again, if we're talking about luxury handbags, there's some kind of an understood expectation among consumers that certain brands, you're expecting a level of experience. You're expecting a level of quality. You're expecting this. If it does not meet that, you hear about it very quickly. The thing with the wedding industry is that ideally a customer is going to come to you once and they're never going to need your service again, right? They're not going to get married multiple times, hopefully, and they're not going to need your service. So it's not like going to a luxury hotel where you're going to go back to that chain over and over again. It's not like buying a luxury good that you're going to become a brand enthusiast for and purchase over and over. Within the wedding industry, there's not that continuity of purchase. So we're in this weird place where people can call themselves whatever they want because nobody is really arguing that that is or isn't what they are because they're not experiencing it from another vendor.
Now, do you think this phrase luxury resonates with the couples of today, or,
I do. I think a lot of couples maybe don't. I think a lot of couples that are truly luxury are looking at a price and they know right away. Like if you're calling yourself luxury, but your price too low, they know right away that you are not
going to give them the level. Yeah.
I think every couple wants to feel like their wedding is luxurious and that their guests are taken care of. And I think that that is completely possible at every price point. But I do think that the expectation at a higher price point is significantly higher. I mean, I just look at even like some of our clients, I look at like how many emails I have per client, and my clients with higher budgets, there are thousands of emails that go into their wedding, where my clients with lower budgets, it's in like a couple hundred. It's completely different. The number of hours that I put in with my clients versus maybe some of the clients that our team takes, completely different. And like I said, we're not even at the top of that market. So it's just used so much. Everybody wants to be in that luxury space. Most people are like, what's your goal to be a luxury, whatever. But I think that's where we're missing the point. Like there's so much wonderful business and so much, profitable business in those mid markets that
for sure.
Let's not call ourselves something that we aren't. Let's say like we are for you. We don't have to push every wedding to be luxury. They can be whatever they need to be and not carry that title and still be just as valuable.
So. Yeah. Sometimes too, I feel like when you are dealing with a luxury client, they come in and they're looking for someone that's going to give them good service. They're not necessarily looking at you if you're luxury. So like if you provide something of quality that they feel is quality, then I think they will go with you, and then especially if you could build that trust and rapport with them as you're going through that, process. I think that's like a good step to get you there. And, but I think it's very difficult to be, depending on where you are in the wedding world, but like to be in that luxury market, it's hard to be in that market nonstop, like it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very demanding. It's
it's just, it would, it's like, it's always fun to do those big events, but it's like, I don't know if I could do them all the time. I'm getting older and grumpier as I go. So I don't know if I can be the person. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, I'm very happy with what I'm doing now. So I've found my niche. So
absolutely. Anyway. And I don't know. I mean, I think luxury ultimately is in the eye of the beholder. And
totally.
I think no matter what your company does, no matter where you are, if you focus on your processes and just creating really the best possible experience for your current clients, you will move into that luxury space without having to call yourself luxury. Because, actions, of course, speak louder than words. And that is so true in the wedding industry because we only get to do it once, right? We only get to do our job for this couple one time. And if we don't get it right, and if we don't amaze them and make it the most incredible night of their lives, we don't get any do-overs.
No.
It's not like shopping for a purse where if you have a bad experience, you might have a better experience next time. Like, this is it. So we have to blow people away. And if you do that consistently, you will naturally keep moving into a higher end market without having to call yourself anything other than your own brand name.
It's funny you say that, because I always say in the wedding industry, we're the greatest at improv. Like we deal with more problems and more, things that happen. We don't get it. Yeah. Oh no. Hey, take two. The bride needs to walk down the aisle again, or,
Right?
we need this to happen, or again, because it wasn't and it's just kind of like, sometimes I feel like we are the greatest at improv. It is what it is. In the wedding and even in the event industry, we don't get to take it and do it again and again.
Oh, yeah.
And again. So
we had a wedding just a couple weeks ago. One of the girls on my team was the lead of it. And we had a torrential downpour that was not on any weather scanner leading up to the event. They had to move everybody inside, but the couple really wanted to eat outdoors. And so our team and the venues team completely reset the entire outdoor space once the storm had passed to allow them to move back outside to eat their entrees. Like, it's horrible to have
it's
to do.
No, but but if you think about it, the guests probably maybe experienced a little bit of it, but didn't understand what was going on behind the scenes, and got to experience it and enjoy themselves,
And the couple knows that we went out of our way to create the magic of what they truly wanted, despite what Mother Nature had in mind.
Well, if you think about that, that's luxury right there. Yeah, that is something special that happens. You provided a level of service, you've gone over and beyond, and that in itself is a luxury. So, all right. So how do we start? I starting my business, and I want to be luxury. What do you think? Tips, tricks to get us to that end?
I think the biggest things, I mean, truly, I got an education this summer by spending some time experiencing luxury myself. Because again, I don't come from a lifestyle that is like living this luxury thing.
And most of us don't.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So I do think that part of it is, if you really want to be in that space, you have to understand that space. And so going, not that you have to buy things, but go shopping, go experience what it's like to be shopping in the places where your ideal customer is shopping. Go experience what it's like to, be you don't have to stay at a luxury hotel, but you can go and get lunch there. You can go and, do a property tour. Even just watching like how all of the individuals interact with each other at a property tells you a lot about the experience that your clients are having when they're there. And so just be mindful of like what's going on in these luxury spaces. That will give you a really good idea of what your client's experiencing and what they're hoping to experience from you. The other piece of that, I think, is really digging into what your version of luxury is. So what is setting you apart from your competitors, and how are you making the experience for your clients really special? And like, what does that look like from a personalization standpoint? And it's not, if you're a photographer, it's not just that you help them put together their photo album at the end, because most photographers do that. So what are you doing that's special? What is it that, and maybe it's different for every client, because that truly is what luxury is. It's understanding your client and personalizing the experience to them. So looking at how you can do that in your process, and finally defining what your process really is. What are your touch points? What are the ways that you're surprising and delighting? And how does that work into a schedule with your plan for how you service your client? Because if you don't have a strong process, you're going to be all over the place, and you're not going to have a level of consistency from client to client that's going to get you that next luxury client.
And the more you were talking, the more I was thinking, it's like you have to experience it to understand how to do it. You really do. I mean, it's just, there's a difference from, like you said, going to Chili's, or like my experience at that Michael Mina restaurant, your experience at Gordon Ramsay's restaurant. There's just a different, you have to experience to, I think, then appreciate it, and then want to strive to take yourself to get there. So I think that's the biggest thing, is like,
I always say I save all my gratuities to like have luxury fun myself. So like, if you get tipped at a wedding, put it aside and go and experience a Michelin star dinner. Go and experience, buying your first piece from a luxury goods store, like whatever it is that like would be fun to you. I like it also, whatever. But whatever would be fun for you, like set money aside and give that as your reward for a hard season, getting to experience one of those things if you haven't gotten to experience it before.
I always throw mine in my travel fund. So when we travel, we can do extra fun, like you said, nicer dinner experiences and doing all that different things that we don't get to do. Or like I didn't grow up with that way. And sometimes I feel like, am I spoiling my kids because we go to these nicer restaurants and, they get to fly around and do different things. And I just think there's more to it. The more you experience and the more you see, I think the better you're gonna be in life.
Yeah,
in general.
You have a better understanding of the world.
I really think so. So, all right. Anything we're missing on luxury? I think we covered a lot of it. What else do you think we got?
Covered a lot. No, I think that's it. Like, it's funny because I almost feel like luxury has become like this like fake word. But I think that we can bring it back to actually meaning what it means within our industry, because it is so clear in other industries what is luxury and what is not. I think, we actually all should be striving to be luxurious within our own brand and providing the best possible service that we can provide. And if you're doing that, then you've earned the term luxury. But I just don't know that everybody is doing that and has really thought about it.
Yeah, and so always ask for some tips at the end. And one of the tips that I think resonated throughout, our little discussion here today is that look at yourself and how can you make your touch points and even better in your brand to just maybe take you from maybe lower end to middle, and start working your way up. And it's just like, what can we do to better service our clients? Period. And then that's going to continue to work you up the food chain to luxury.
I think having patience too, because it always surprises me when somebody comes out the gate saying that they're a luxury vendor when they haven't been in the industry very long, because I think it's really hard to understand all of the challenges within our industry and instantly say that you are luxury. So I think being patient and really letting yourself learn from your competitors. I think, I will say what the wedding industry has been really good at over the last few years is becoming a more inclusive and community over competition space. And a lot of people are willing to teach and give of themselves and share like little tips and information. And so if you're newer in the industry, just take all of that in and be patient and know that like with hard work and time, you can get to wherever you want to be. But the fast track isn't always the best track.
No. And it's good that you say patience, because it doesn't happen overnight. And even like, I ran into you at Wedding MBA, we just got done with Wedding MBA about a little over a month ago, but, there's people there and they come back and they expect instant results from what they're doing, or they learn 15 new things and try to do them all at once. And then they get burnt out. It's like, take one or two little tangible items. How can you improve your business? And then, okay, you've achieved those, you're doing good. Then let's take another couple bites off it and do one or two more things, and not overhaul what we're doing overnight. And then it almost like disrupts your business and it doesn't help your business. So
absolutely.
I think patience is a good one. And that goes even, cause we both have the WIPA background. It's one of the biggest complaints I got when I was WIPA president is I joined WIPA and I didn't get any business, and it's like, well, did you go to an event? Did you go to this? And it's like, no, and it's just like,
you're working building relationships.
And it's just like, yeah. And I'm a big believer, even like if you're trying to get in with a new wedding planner or you're trying to get in with a new venue or anything, it doesn't happen overnight unless you're a niche. I always say, unless you have a niche, like I just interviewed someone that does pet sitting for weddings. Well, okay, that's very niche. And that, Ashely, if I said I have a pet sitting business, you're going to be like, oh, you might be a little bit more open than me walking up to you. I'm a DJ. Well, you got a lot of, you know what I'm saying? So, and I always feel like it's a 2 to 3 year process. And if you go in there with it, it's going to take you 2 to 3 years by going to WIPA events. And then eventually where you see the fruits of your labor for attending, it's, like I meet you, Ashely, and it's going to take 2 or 3 years to develop a relationship to where you might give me an opportunity to do an event. And then you go, it's not an overnight. Yeah. Unless you have the pet sitting or the cigar rolling or something that's very niche, but if you're a photographer, DJ, florist, one of the everyone else, and unless you're doing something that's very unique, you got to put in the time and you got to continue to show up. That's always been my little rant. So anyway, I ranted.
I 100%.
I ranted with you. So
thank you. Thank you for making me feel not alone.
No, never, ever are you alone. All right, girl. All right. Any other tips for luxury before we move on?
No, I don't think so.
All right, perfect. I think we did a great job. So we always, you're going to be the first person I asked this. So last year I asked everyone their favorite, or this year that we're in, I asked everyone their favorite part of the wedding. As we move into next year, I'm going to ask everyone on Mind Your Wedding Business, what's their favorite app that they're using right now? Because I feel like technology is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. I always have my iPhone with me at a moment's notice if I ever need it. But what is your favorite app that you're using right now, Ashely?
Okay, so I have 2.
Ooh, I love it.
One is Uplands.
What is that?
So it's like editing for Instagram, TikTok, all of that. It gives like really easy to use templates and makes it pretty easy to create content.
Can you spell it really quick? Because I know these apps are really funky.
UPLENS.
Okay. Uplands. I like it.
And then my other one is actually attached to my Aura ring. It's the Aura app.
Oh, okay.
I am obsessed because it tells you so much about like your own health and how you are adapting every day to your surroundings. So like it tells you how well you slept. It tells you how much activity you should do that day based on your recovery from the day before. And as a person who is really bad at taking care of herself, it is a lovely reminder of like when I need rest. It tells me like, hey, your temperature has been elevated for the last few days. You should probably take it easy today and things like that. It tells me, hey, you've been stressed all day. You need to take time to breathe and relax. So it helps me take care of myself so that I can take care of all my people and my things better.
It's funny. And you're like the third person to tell me about that. So I feel like I need to get one of those because I love my Apple Watch, but it has a good health stuff, but I don't wear my watch to sleep, which they want you to do. I can't. Yeah. I tried it one night, can't do it. And but you're like literally the third person.
Yeah. My watch never lasts long enough. This, I charge it like once a week. It charges in 15 minutes and I can wear it all day, all night and easy.
And you forget it's there and it's super simple. All right. You convinced me. I'm going to get one. It's Christmas time. I'm going to tell my wife, get me one of those. So
yeah, it's a really good holiday gift if you're looking for a last minute gift for someone. So
there you go. All right. And then you got to wrap it in the fancy paper. And then we got to check out on when do we release? You release your thing?
I'll be releasing my wrapping style for this year.
I cannot wait. We're only a week away, I believe. Yeah, a week away until we get to know.
Yeah,
just wrapping. I have a really good idea, but I'm going to see if I'm right. So,
yeah.
How does someone get in touch with you, Ashely?
Yeah, well, so our business, you can find us on Instagram or really all of the social media apps at Your Jubilee Weddings. Or if you want to reach out to me personally, I'm at Happily Ever Ashely.
I love it. All right. So we will have all that in our show notes and we will be sure to tag you on social media. So if you see Ashely on social media, be sure to follow her and her company and we'll be good to go. So Ashely, thank you so much. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Thank you for coming back and ranting about luxury weddings. I love it.
Thanks, Kevin. It's always good to chat with you.
You too. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business podcast brought to you by Wedding IQ. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode. Please get in touch with me if you have a topic you would like for me to cover, or if you are in the area of your business you're struggling with, let us know. We'll be happy to help. I encourage you to check out our other episodes on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're a fan, we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast and leave a review. It helps others find our podcast so they can learn from our guests too. Thanks again for listening.